Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And Blizzard has officially released the Endgame Realm Xal'atath Endgame, where we're going to be able to make max level characters with all of the current available gear. I was actually just playing it, and it's very interesting. I'm going to have content out with it related to that after this video. But for today's video, there's a huge amount of class changes that came with this build as well. And apparently a complete rework again for one of the specs, allegedly, that I'm being told. So I'm interested to see what exactly is going on there. And as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash the subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. But let's get started because there is a lot. So we got Death Knight. So we see auto attack damage getting buffed across the board for all classes. So for Blood, it's getting a 150% buff. Blood Shield now appropriately displays the absorb amount is up to 50% of your maximum health. Blood Boil damage nerfed by 12%. Deadly Reach now deals 75% of the Death Strike damage to additional targets hit. Blood Shot no longer only increases physical damage. It now increases all damage dealt by 8% while Blood Shield is active. You're getting a new talent, Bloody Reflection. While Blood Shield is active, taking direct damage reflects it back, dealing shadow damage to the attacker. Blood Shield's absorb is increased by 65% of your maximum health. Reflected damage could be really OP. That could be really OP. Frosty K's, oh my god, you guys got a buff. You guys never get buffs. Your auto attack damage is getting buffed by 400%. Unholy, Necromancer's Bargain has been renamed to Necromancer's Cunning and has moved to the specialization tree. Petrify now summons a lesser ghoul to attack instead. That's interesting. They literally just reworked the PvP talent and they're like, hey, that PvP talent is actually kind of cool. Let's just make it the baseline class. Okay, so it's not a PvP talent anymore. Outnumber has been redesigned and is now a capstone talent. Each lesser ghoul increases the damage of your permanent ghoul by 10%. And Dark Transformation additionally empowers the claw attacks of your lesser ghouls to sweeping claws and no longer grants 4 seconds additional duration to lesser ghoul. So a little bit of synergy between summoning the pets to your main pet and then, you know, the inverse of that as well. I think that's good. I think it's adding a lot more flavor as opposed to them just being like auto-attacking drones. Reaping secondary effect has been updated. Dark Transformation now resets the cooldown of Soul Reaper and allows it to be used on any target. So you can have like on-demand execute burst. I think it was Soul Reaper just wasn't really hitting that hard when I tried it. I have to try to guess at max level now with everything, but before it was not really hitting that hard, which is my only concern. Commander of the Dead now has a secondary effect. The duration of lesser ghouls are increased by 25 to 50% of your mastery. So I'm making mastery synergize there with your lesser ghouls. Auto attack damage by 800 or 300%. Army of the Dead now summons 6 lesser ghouls, and lesser ghouls now only last 6 seconds down from 8. But remember, they're getting all those synergies. March of the Madness now increases the damage of lesser ghouls by 15% down from 30. Summon Gargoyle will no longer grant 50 runic power. However, Gargoyle Strike will always critically strike. Interesting. Raise Abomination. I don't know how much of a damage buff that is to that. Raise Abomination and Summon Gargoyle now putrefy 2 lesser ghouls down from 4. So you're not going to lose your whole army when you use those cooldowns together. Magus of the Dead no longer causes Army of the Dead to summon a Magus. Aw, sad. Blightfall now increases all disease damage by 10% down from 20. Reanimation has a 100% chance to reanimate a lesser ghoul. So instead of summoning the casters, you'll summon the little dudes instead. I feel like that's kind of a nerf because the little dudes don't have as much synergy as the casters. Sweeping Claws damage increased by 20% and now deals 35% reduced damage to secondary targets. Unholy Aura will now grant 1 to 2% haste for each Magus of the Dead active. Interesting. So instead of just like a flat amount, it's going to be based on Magus procs. Infected Claws will now be applied to the permanent ghoul with the need to resummon. Infected Claws now also scales with Mastery. Okay, that's good, because before it was kind of useless. Reaping damage bonus is now correctly applied by Scourge Strike. Fixed an issue that caused Scourge Strike damage to not scale with Mastery. An Army of the Dead and its follow-up talents, Raise Abomination, Summon Gargoyle, have been moved to the center of the talent tree. I feel like that's a pretty cool touch-up, honestly, for Unholy DK. I wasn't sure how much more they were really going to put into that, but that's a pretty cool touch-up. A lot of new synergies. Big talent relocation for some big talents. For Devourer Demon Hunter, hero talent Annihilator, new talent Harness the Cosmos. Voidfall meteor damage increased by 15%. It's a choice note against Doomsayer. Final Hour has been updated. It now causes Voidfall bonus to linger 8 seconds down from 12. Fix an issue causing all Voidfall meteors to benefit from the World Killer's radius increase. Devourer. Doomsayer has been updated. Buff is now removed after 10 seconds of entering combat, was 5. Voidfall meteor damage is also being nerfed by 50%. World Killer Meteors now generate 1 soul fragment down from 2. Fix an issue where World Killer Meteorites were not dealing appropriately increased damage and not creating soul fragments for Devourer Demon Hunters. So just bug fixes. For Vengeance, Doomsayer has been updated. Now summons 1 Voidfall Meteor down from 3. Meteoric Fall has been updated and now triggers, also triggered by Soul Cleave. Voidfall Meteor damage reduced by 25%. So a little bit of nerfs and bug fixes. For Void Scarred Devourer, Students of the Suffering is being updated and now grants 3 Fury per tick, down from 5. Devourer is still overperforming by a wide margin. So we are tamping down Annihilator's power's damage while also reducing the damage of their core spells. It's interesting because I just played it and it looked like it was still really good, even despite this. I assume these changes are live based on my testing that I just did like 5 minutes ago, but we are intentionally not reducing the Hunt's power to help its power relative to the rest of the Devourer's kit. So Eradicate's being updated. Damage is now increases proportionately when Cull replaces Reap. Entropy has been updated. It now forces your soul fragments to 25 when a raid encounter begins. Monster Hunters reduce effectiveness, Void Ray damage, Reap damage, Collapsing Star, just everything. I'm surprised because they're still looking really strong from when I tested. So I'm assuming these are live from when I tested. Druid changes. Druid of the Claw. Claw Rampage is being updated. Attacks during Berserk only have 1 chance to grant Ravage instead of 1 per target hit. No longer triggers off a cat form version of Thrash, so just a little bit less proc rate. Feral Ravage damage to its primary target has been reduced by 20%. Dreadful Wound damage reduced by 20%. And Strike for the Heart increases Shred, Swipe, and Rake critical strike chance by 5 down from 8. So Feral nerfs, seems like. Bloodseeker Vines also nerfed. Bursting Growth damage nerfed. Vigorous Creepers causes Bloodseeker Vines to increase damage taken by 4%. Yeah, pretty substantial feral nerfs here. Let's see. Thrash can no longer be used in cat form. What? Cat form Thrash does not have a strong identity or distinctive gameplay for Druids in Midnight. To free up a keybind and reduce the number of debuff auras on the nameplates for removing Thrash. I mean, I think it's good, but I'm surprised. I think it's good. All Druids learn Bear Form Thrash at level 11. Swipe is now a class talent. It was learned at level 10. Shred damage increased by 40%. And cat form Swipe damage increased by 25% with Thrash being removed. So a little bit of extra AoE damage. Now Feral specifically, oh my god, this is a lot. Chomp has been updated. That was a cool new ability for Feral. Chomp your target, causing physical damage. Chomp critical strikes deal 3 times the normal damage. Chomp can only be used when you fall below 30% energy or for 2 seconds after. These changes to Chomp are intended to make being able to use it once you've met its conditions more reliable and to help its damage keep pace with abilities that benefit from mastery as your gear improves. Good, because I like Chomp. Chomp is a good ability. They're nerfing all your damage by 27%, but they're buffing your melee auto attack damage by 115. They're buffing your Moonfire Lunar Inspiration. They're buffing Feral Frenzy, buffing Frantic Frenzy damage. Chomp again buffed. Unseen Slash damage, though, is getting nerfed, but the Unseen Swipe is getting buffed. So a little bit more single target focus on nerfs. Merciless Strikes, or Merciless Claws increases the damage of Swipe by 20, up from 15. Your set bonus is being updated and now increases Moment of Clarity damage by 15, down from 20. Seemingly nerfs, though. Wild Slashes no longer increases Thrash damage. Vein Ripper no longer increases the duration of Thrash's bleed. Well, it's because Thrash is gone, so who cares? Thrashing Claws has been removed. I think that's good that they're removing Thrash. And this is just a bunch of number tuning. That's, again, it's gonna be ongoing. What is Guardian Druid getting? New talent, Killing Blow. Maul and Raise may consume up to 40 additional rage to deal up to 150% increased damage. That's a lot. New talent, Natural Resilience. When Frenzied Regeneration would heal you above your maximum health, 80% of its excess healing is turned into a shield. These are strong mechanics, bro. Dream Guide. When you take non-periodic damage, you have a chance to gain a charge of Dream Guide. When you or a nearby ally drops below 40% health, you consume a charge of it to automatically regrowth them. That's a lot of good stuff. What? Wild Guardian has been updated. Rank 1 now activates after you cast Berserk or Incarnation Guardian of Ursoc. Rank 2 and 3 has been redesigned. Mastery increased by 3 to 6%. Maul is always empowered and deals 20 to 40%. Additional nature damage. These are... Rank 4, when you cast Wild Guardian, you gain 2 charges of Dream of Cenarius and Dream Guide. Wild Guardian's echoes are now cast at 100% effectiveness, and each echo an additional 2 times over 8 seconds. These are so OP. Dream of Cenarius has been updated. 20-second lockout has been removed, converted to 3+% or plus haste RPPM. Now stacks up to 4. Ursol's Fury now generates an absorb shield based on 40% of the damage dealt from 25. Okay, Guardian's getting giga buffed. I kind of wanted to play a Guardian in Mythic Plus. This is making me want to play it more. This seems, I like that. Augmentation Evoker, just nerfs. Eruption cast by duplicate 30% nerf. All spell ability damage nerfed by 10%. I wonder if they want to keep Aug on the bottom or not, actually. I don't know where it is exactly right now, because this tuning is all done from internal testing. Today was supposed to be the first public testing. It wasn't up, though, all day, so... for preservation, fixed an issue where Dream Breath was incorrectly calculating its upfront healing amount when beyond rank 1. The overall healing amount is now equal no matter what empowerment level is chosen. It's just the duration of the hot is increased. Okay, Hunter. Wailing Arrow is being updated. It's going to do 100% more damage, and it's having its cast time reduced to 1 second. Oh, that's... Because it's hard to actually get it off in the window that you have with how long of a cast time it was, so I think that's good. Beast Mastery Through the Eyes has been updated. It now causes Black Arrow to deal 10% increased damage to enemies affected by Black Arrow's periodic effect. That's really good. Pack Leader, Pack Mentality is being updated. Howl of the Pack Leader now grants 100% increased kill command damage. And Howl of the Pack Leader has been updated, so the Wyvern damage bonus is increased. Survival 100 buffs there for Pack Leader. Also for Beast Mastery. Marksmanship. Marksmanship is... having some of the most problematic changes. So what's going on here? We're buffing Kill Shot and Rapid Fire to ensure they are feeling like valuable parts of the kit. We're increasing Aim Shot's cooldown to reduce its power and help with moments of Aim Shot overflow. Lastly, we're reducing Aim Shot's cast time slightly and having it grant you some additional maneuverability after its long cast time via reworked ammo conservation. True Shot's being updated. Grants 60% cooldown reduction to Aim Shot and Rapid Fire. It was 40% before. Ammo Conservation is renamed to Quick Draw. It's being updated. It now causes Aim Shot to grant 50% increased movement speed for 2 seconds, decaying rapidly over its duration. And it no longer grants Aim Shot cooldown reduction. So you're going to Aim Shot way less frequently? Aim Shot cooldown is increased to 15. No, it's not that by that much. To 15 from 12. Aim Shot cast time reduced to 2.5 from 3. Kill Shot damage increased by 75. Rapid Fire increased by 100. Fixed an issue causing deadly insight to trigger from marksmanship abilities. Okay, we're going in I mean, the thing is 50% movement speed is not that much if you're snared. Now, if you're not snared, like in PvE, it's probably going to be really beneficial, but we'll see. Survival. Strike as one is being updated. Now additionally increases your pet damage by 30%. Kill command damage is getting buffed by 200%. And auto attack damage is getting buffed by 150%. So survival is just getting buffed. For Mage, Flash Freezer Burn's being redesigned. For Fire, Meteor damage is increased by 25%, and Meteor will grant you Frostfire Empowerment. That's good. Especially because the Frostfire Mage, oh my god, it's so OP right now. When you combust and you can spam instant Frostfire bolts over and over infinitely. Frost Mage Glacial Spike damage increased by 25%, and it now explodes on impact. Dealing 50% of its damage to up to 5 nearby enemies. Additionally, Glacial Spike now grants Frostfire Empowerment. Frostfire Empowerment is also being updated. It's now triggered from casting Frostfire spells. Previously, it was Frostfire spell damage, and it no longer will affect Glacial Spike, though. We're moving AoE Glacial Spike to Flash Freezer Burn to make the effect clearer and not tied to Frostfire Empowerment for increased consistency and reduced aura tracking. Frostfire Empowerment triggering from cast should reduce the situations where you gain Frostfire Empowerment mid-cast. Frostfire Bolt direct damage is being reduced by 40%. It no longer deals increased damage in PvP. Yeah, I couldn't need it. It was really OP on the testing I did earlier. We recently fixed some issues with Frostfire Bolt, Frostbolt, and Fireball that were causing all 3 spells to deal significantly less damage than intended. This fix paired with the damage bonus should bring Frostfire Bolt damage more reasonable levels. They fixed an issue causing Frostfire Empowerment to be granted significantly more often than intended. For Frost, our goal is for Shatter to make up a meaningful part of your damage in all content, and our last change pushed it too far out of relevancy. When paired with the Fractured Frost target count reduction, we are partially reverting our Shatter damage reduction as well as our Ice Lance freezing stack increase to help create a better balance between freezing generation and consumption. It's so interesting to me that they had this mechanic on DK and they removed it because they didn't like it, and then they just gave it to Frost Mage, where you build stacks and then shatters their stacks. Thermal Void has been updated and now triggers from consuming Brain Freeze and not Flurry. Shatter damage increased by 50%. The net change from a previous tuning will be about a 25% reduction from its original. Flurry damage is getting nerfed by 15%. Ice Lance can now shatter 4 stacks down from 5. For Shadow Pan, Weapons of the Wall is being redesigned. Zenith Stomp deals 20% more damage, and Nizav Stomp is being increased by 20%. For Mistweaver, a little bit of mana changes here. Enveloping Mist now costs less mana, it's 3.6%. Mana Tea now restores more mana at 12.5%. Rushing Wind Kick's mana cost is reduced by 50%. Soothing Breath healing increased by 100. Enveloping Mist increased by 50. All healing, though, has been reduced by 5. Jadefire Teachings now transfers 180% of the damage done down from 215, so a little bit of a Fistweaver nerf. Ancient Teachings now transfers 25% of the damage down from 30. Revival and Restoral healing, though, is being increased by 100%. Okay. Windwalker Monk, singularly focused Jade, now increases Jadefire Stomp's damage by 300 down from 500. Celestial Conduit damage is being reduced by 75%. I got one shot by that earlier, so it was probably also doing an erroneously high damage in PvE. Zenith Stomp is also doing 33% less. Jadefire Stomp doing 66%. Auto attack damage is getting buffed up to 200%. All spell and ability damage reduced by 13%. So nerfs to Windwalker. For Holy Paladin, Avenging Crusader has been updated and now grants access to Crusader Strike for its duration, which they pruned. So what the hell is it? So when you press Avenger Crusader, it's going to transform into Crusader Strike, is what I'm guessing. Crusader Strike now transfers damage into healing for its duration. No longer increases the damage of Judgment. Auto attack damage is now increased by 1,000% for its duration, up from 30%. Oh my god. Crusader's Might's being updated. It now additionally causes Crusader Strike to decrease the cooldown of Judgment. I'll have to see how that plays. I feel like a lot of Holy Paladins were kind of questioning some of the changes they were making. They're trying to reduce the keybinds. This is a way to do it. If you press Avenger Crusader, it transforms into Crusader Strike, but then you can only use it in that window, but maybe you'd only care about using it anyways in that window. Retribution Paladin, Crusading Strikes is being redesigned and is being reintroduced as a choice node to Templar Strikes. Crusader Strikes replaces your auto attacks and deals physical damage, but your auto attacks are 50% slower. Crusading Strike damage gets buffed by 200%, or you get auto attack by 300% if you're not spec'd into Crusading Strikes, which I think everyone is, right? Hammer of Wrath damage is being buffed by 30%, and fix an issue causing Hammer of Wrath tooltip to display wrong damage. For Priest, Void Weaver, Depths of Shadows has been moved to the Shadow and Disc talent trees. Void Wraith is being redesigned. When Entropic Rift ends, it summons a Void Wraith for 5 seconds that casts Void Flay on a nearby enemy. So you may have Mindbender and Void Wraith. I think Void Wraith is the pet that replaced Mindbender. I don't main Shadow, but I've played it to the point where I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. So you have to have a Mindbender and a Void Flay. Or a Void Wraith. That seems pretty good. Although maybe not, because then it might not get the synergies of the talents. I don't know if it was getting them to begin with, but I would assume that it doesn't if it was. Disc new talent, Depths of Shadows. Casting Shadow Word Death has a 25% chance to summon a Shadow Fiend for 5 seconds when damaging targets below 20%. And the number of Void Shields allowed active at once is now uncapped. Before it was limited to 3. Void Shield still applies to 3 targets per cast, though. Fix various incorrect interactions between Void Shield and Unfolding Vision. Atonement heals for 50% of the damage done, down from 60. Mind Blast got a 30% damage reduction. And Shadow Fiend's just gone. Oh, I see. Shadow Fiend is just deleted. That's why they did that. Okay, Shadow Fiend is bye-bye. Bye-bye. It's gone. Okay, that makes more sense with why they changed Void Wraith. Okay. For Shadow, oh my god, dude. With this update, we're removing Shadow Fiend and its variants and replacing them with proc versions to reduce the launch sequence of cooldowns for the spec. We're also looking to add dot extension gameplay to the spec after the removal of Void Bolt from Void form. We want this to be something that functions consistently and against multiple targets, and felt shadowy apparitions were a good source for this effect. We're also undoing a previous change to have Misery override Shadow Word Pain, which caused issues of solo polling and having an ability to use on the move. Wait, what? We're also undoing the previous change to have Shadow Misery. Oh, good. So Shadow Word Pain is back. We're adding a choice against Misery for low target situations where managing both dots can once again be a part of expected gameplay. We expect in high target situations for Misery to be the stronger option, but dot management is still core to Shadow, and low target spread target situations are where Shadow Word Pain management can continue to live. Does that mean they'll bring back Catharsis? So they pruned Shadow Fiend and brought Shadow Word Pain back, it seems like. So new talent, Depth of Shadows. Casting Shadow Word Death has a 25% chance to summon a Shadow Fiend when damaging targets below 20-35%. But you have to have it talented. So you only get Shadow Fiend from this, and it has to be talented, and it's only in that health range. Haunting Shadows. Shadowy apparition damage increased by 10%. When shadowy apparitions deal damage, they extend the duration of Shadow Word Pain, Vampiric Touch on the target by 1.5 seconds. Okay, so that, I mean, apparitions are going to be a lot more valuable with that. Invoked Nightmare. Increase the damage of Shadow Word Pain by 150%. It's a choice node with Misery. I mean, that might just be really OP. What? You just spam Shadow Word Pain? New talent, Maddening Tentacles. Tentacle Slam afflicts the target with Shadow Word Madness at 25%. That's really good. That's really good. New talent, Crushing Void. Tentacles Slam damage is 50% increased, and Void Volley deals 15% increased damage. When Void Form ends, you cast Void Volley one time for free within 30 seconds. Oh, you can cast it. Okay. Mindbender is being redesigned. Casting Void Eruption summons a Mindbender to attack your target. Oh, that's where it's going. So Mindbender will be on Void Eruption. Shadow Fiend will be on Shadow Word Death. I wonder how much mana regen that'll be for disc. If you can get, well, I guess you couldn't get both of these. Mental Decay no longer extends the duration of Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric Touch when Mind Flay deals damage. Oh, but you're okay. So the suck is going away, and you're just getting passive dot management with the apparitions. Mental Decay now increases the damage of Mind Flay by 25 from 15. Surge of Insanity now increases the damage of Mind Flay from 15 down from 60. Mind Flay seems a lot weaker. Oh, but they're just buffing at baseline. I think it's going to try and open up more talents. Ancient Madness now causes Shadow Word Madness to increase the duration of Void Form by 3 seconds, up from 2.5, but its effect now diminishes by 25% per cast of Shadow Word Madness during Void Form. Misery is no longer replacing Shadow Word Pain, but Shadow Fiend is being removed. All right, now Rogue. Oh my god, Rogue is actually on here. Subtlety. Improved Ambush now has an alternate effect. Shadow Strike damage increased by 8%. Outlaw. Gravedigger is being updated. When you dispatch, you have a 12% chance per combo point to hide a bullet up your sleeve. And when you've hidden 6 bullets, your next between the eyes consumes them, has no energy cost, generates 6 combo points, and immediately resets them on cooldown. We weren't happy that the previous version of this talent could result in between the eyes being highlighted for a significant period of time while it was on cooldown. So it's just going to reset now. So you just, okay, you get the proc and then you pop it. Okay, that's not complicated. Subtlety. The changes for Subtlety, these notes are not subtle, bro. This is a giant wall of text. In this update, look to improve upon initial goals with further adjustments based on gameplay testing and community feedback received thus far. Some previous changes swung the pendulum too far, like overemphasizing haste as an outlet for cooldown reduction onto too many abilities and talent effects, and removing all generic damage bonuses from Shadow Dance. Other changes did not go far enough, like leaving circumstances of unnecessary cooldown overlap between 2 buttons, Symbols of Death and Shadow Dance, when one combined button would serve better, and where core abilities, notably Rupture and Shuriken Storm, had muddled mechanical identity. Finally, adjustments to resource pacing and damage profile are baked throughout the total changes with the intent that overall combat flow remains satisfying and damage output feels controlled and potent with the updated lineup of streamlined abilities and shorter but more frequent cooldown pacing. We hope you enjoy Subtlety at Midnight Beta and look forward to receiving community feedback. It will continue informing iterative improvements. I think it's good that they're doing a change, and if it doesn't work, they're iterating. That's exactly what you need to be doing. So this is good. It's not like they're making a change, being like, we know what we're doing, and this is how it's staying. Like this, I think this is good. New passive ability, Shuriken Storm. Rank 2, Shuriken Storm does 100% increased damage while stealthed. Okay, so I assume also during dance. Improved Secret Technique. Secret Technique's just getting buffed by 10%. Dark Brew is being redesigned. Your weapon poisons have a 10% increased application chance and now deal shadow damage instead of nature. Shadow damage increased by 10%. Does that mean they're also not considered poisons for dispelling purposes? I don't know. Shadow Focus has been redesigned. Abilities deal 10% more damage while stealth or Shadow Dance is active. Weapon Master is being redesigned. Backstab and Shadow Strike have a 15% chance to create a Shadow clone that repeats the attack for 50% of the normal damage of Shadow. You're getting just like Ellie Shaman Lava Burst procs. Perforated Veins is being redesigned. Backstab, Gloom Blade, Shuriken Storm, and Shadow Strike have 10% increased damage while Find Weakness is active. Oh, Find Weakness is still here. Okay. Replicating Shadows has been redesigned. Shadow Clones deal 20% increased damage, and effects that have a chance to create them have a 5% chance to occur. You're just an Ellie, dude. You're an Ellie rogue. Shuriken Storm has a 15% chance to also create a Shadow Clone. You're Naruto, dude. That repeats the attack for 50% normal damage as Shadow. You are literally Naruto clone jutsu right now. Like, what is so many, Windwalkers used to have clones. You rogues take it. Rogues are now the clone spec. Death Perception has been redesigned. Find Weakness, Shadow Dance, and Shadow Blades each increase the damage of finishing moves by 10%. These just seem like buffs. I'm just reading this as just buffs. Dark Shadow is being redesigned. Shadow Dance increases all ability damage by 5 to 10, and Shadow Strike, Shuriken, and Storm damage increased by 5 to 10. Secret Technique is learned at 25 as opposed to being a talent. They're nerfing all your damage though by 17, but buffing your auto attacks by 82. Okay, they're not all buffs. Shadow Strike's getting nerfed baseline, Backstab buff, Grimblade buff, Shuriken buff, Eviscerate buff, Black Powder buff, Secret buff. Dance Macabre effect increased by 110%. Shadow Dance is only going to last 6 seconds though, down from 8. However, its cooldown is going to be 20, down from 30. The first dance bonus to Shadow Dance duration reduced to 3 from 4. Master of Shadows now generates 30 energy over 3 seconds. I think their goal here is to make Subtlety Rogue do more consistent damage, which obviously that would do. Planned Execution effect is now granted by Shadow Dance with Symbols of Death. Warning Signs effect is now granted by Shadow Dance instead of Symbols of Death. And they've removed a bunch of abilities. So I think this is good. It's simplifying it, making your damage more consistent. They actually just removed Rupture completely. Inevitability, Improved Shadow Technique, Swift Death, and Symbols. It's a lot less keybinds. I think Subtlety is going to be very easy to play. Enhancement Shaman, just 3%, 100% auto attack increase. Frost Decay and Enhance, you guys, I never know what to expect, but you're just getting a little buff. Now this, I think, was the rework that I was alluding to for Warlock. We have modified the overall structure of Affliction's talent tree to reduce the friction between selecting a build geared towards single target damage or multi-target damage. Good. I swear every talent tree just needs to be single target to the left, AoE to the right. So let's see what's going on. Selecting a build geared towards single target or multi-target damage. In addition, we are reducing the throughput of Unstable Affliction or removing Soul Miser and Cloying Power to highlight Seed of Corruption as Affliction's multi-target spender. Potent Soul Shards increases the damage dealt by Unstable Affliction, Seed of Corruption by 5%. Niskaran Methods increases the damage of Agony and Corruption by 10%. Eye Contract increases the damage of Summon Dark Glare by 5 seconds. Call of the Week is being redesigned. Casting Seed of Corruption reduces the cooldown of Dark Harvest by 5 seconds. We are redesigning Call of the Week to realign with our goal of keeping pooling tied to Dark Glare specifically. This effect should underline Dark Harvest as a powerful tool for Affliction in multi-target situations. Malefic Grasp is being redesigned. While Dark Glare is active, your Shadow Bolt and Drain Soul become Malefic Grasp, so you can just spam it. Malefic Grasp binds the target in Twilight, dealing shadow damage over 4 seconds. When Malefic Grasp deals damage, it causes all of your other dots to instantly deal 30% of their normal. That's a lot more flavor. Malefic Grasp being tied to Nightfall creates moments where you want to pull Unstable Affliction cast. We want to avoid a situation where it's optimal to not press your filler and wait for optimal Unstable Affliction stacks. Creeping Death has been updated. Your Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction damage deal 10% to 20% faster. Withering Bolt has been updated. Shadow Bolt, Drain Soul, deal 5 to 10% increased damage, up to 15 to 30 per damage over time effect you have on the target. Shadow of Nathriza rank 4 is being updated. Damage dealt by Haunt has a chance to release the demonic soul haunting its target. When released, it unleashes the devastating attack before it is banished to the Nathriza. Wrath of Nathriza is being updated. Calls down a meteor formed from the ruins of Nathriza that explodes upon impact, dealing shadow damage to all enemies within 10 yards. Okay, and Unstable Affliction is being reduced. Position and pathing of several talents have changed. So, I mean, it's basically like they just did it over again. I don't know about if they've killed Affliction with this. I'm going to have to give that one a playthrough to really have a better idea of how that feels, because that means that the Shadow Bolt procs will be back and you don't have to worry about being replaced by Rapture. Demonology, though. New talent, Empowered Fellstorm, increases the damage of Felguard's Fellstorm by 20% and duration by 4 seconds. Blighted Maw is being updated. The fangs of your Dreadstalker are coated in corrosive bile, causing Dreadbite to deal additional damage equal to 50% as plague damage. Summon Demonic Tyrant is being updated. Summon a Demonic Tyrant that damages your target for 15 seconds. Damage dealt by Demonic Tyrant is increased by 10% for each Wild Imp and Dreadstalker. Rather than only gaining power from active demons upon his arrival, Demonic Tyrant will now gain power from any demons that is active while he is. Oh my god, so it's not Snapshot, basically. This change should make ill-timed Tyrant's summons less punishing. In addition, we are decoupling Vile Fiend from Tyrant to avoid any future situations where Vile Fiend feels like a required talent. Okay. Dominion of Argus now summons a subjugated demon every 2 hands of Gul'dan's. It was 3. Implosion does 5. Implosion's back, dude. Implosion does 500% more damage. That's back, bro. Aura of Contempt is being removed. We want players to avoid a situation where you need to micromanage your Felguard's Fellstorm, so we are introducing a new talent to further enhance it to take the place of Aura of Contempt. So it'll just Bladestorm on its own now? Because before that was like you had really good control of your AoE. It's just going to do it on its own now. For Warrior, Slayer, Unrelenting Onslaught now triggers from sudden death. Previously, it was any execute. So execute phase a little weaker. Arms Warrior got a 20% damage reduction, but its auto attacks got buffed by 150%. Fury got 200% auto attack increase, and Apex Talent final node has been changed. Rampage extends the duration of Berserk by only 1 second, down from 2. So a little bit less time of being able to maintain like really big strength modifiers. For PvP, Enveloping Mist is no longer increased by 50% in PvP. Now, obviously, we just got max level testing, so I do imagine that the amount of changes and significance of them is going to increase moving week to week. They have the damage meters working now. They don't really save after you leave the instance of where you are, though, so it's kind of hard to like leave an arena match and then like look at what happened, is what I noticed. It didn't seem to be too useful. It's only useful as showing you like the actual current amount of output. So if you don't quickly catch it, it gets a little bit more difficult in order to do it. But what I like about this update the most is that they went a direction with some stuff, noticed it wasn't good, and are going to be going into a different direction. I think this type of implementation is going to be the best for kind of whittling it down, you know? But yeah, the Subtlety Rogue looks like it's going to be really easy now. I think Subtlety Rogue might be the easiest spec in the game. It was already kind of getting increasingly easy. I think Subtlety next expansion with this, I'm going to make a Rogue on the beta at some point. But I think Rogue could definitely be like considered the easiest spec after these changes are implemented. But that's it for this update. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.